G'day folks, Greg Budd from Bud's Baits here.
Welcome to the African Lure Craftsman. In the ensuing episodes, we'll be taking you along while we design and handcraft timber lures and hopefully get out into the water to use them. From early days as a kid, I've been making fishing lures. Many times on social media, I've been asked to share my secrets, and I think that day has finally arrived. I've designed lures for some of the big boys in the industry, and I sell my lures worldwide. I'll do my best to show you some of the hacks I've learned along the way. Stay with us and experience the wonders of casting lures to bass, giant catfish, tigerfish in Zimbabwe, which I'm fortunate to call my home, and cross borders with us as we'll target the denizens of the deep all along the African coast in magical places such as Mozambique. Through it all, I'll share a bit of my daily life and business experience, which can be quite tough in Zimbabwe at times, as we take you along to run the daily gauntlet of survival. Subscribe and click the notifications button to stay with us. Welcome back, guys. Last time where we finished off, we had just foiled and detailed one of these little RipStick 100s. In this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the process of doing the initial clear coat, the sand back of the clear coat to get rid of the foil seams and to help seal the lure as well, and then the whole painting process. We hope you enjoy. We are now going to go through a few other processes. We've already done the foiling, which you've seen us do, and then the detailing. Of course, we cannot paint most paint straight onto a foil, so we have to clear coat this first before we can start putting on the colors or anything like that. A couple of things have happened before now, and that's the wash of this actual lure, and all the lures I do that you see here, because you can't have any remnants of fingerprints or anything like that, oils, it could be fluff, it could be many things that the lure can pick up, and they have to have a thorough wash in hot water and soap, and then a thorough rinse as well in very, very warm water, so you can get rid of anything like that, greases that might be in your fingers, anything like that. The reason we're doing the clear coat is not only for the paints, it's also to hide these foil seams here. So if I run my finger over that, there's a definite edge there. We don't want that there because the paint will pick that up and you'll see that. So what we're going to do is we're going to clear coat it first, let that dry, and then we'll sand back on that clear coat with a very, very fine water paper, 1000 grain, 600 grain sometimes I use depending, and we'll get that all smooth so it looks like it's all one piece. So when the paint goes on, there's absolutely no seams. So these have been pre-cleaned already, and I'll always use a very, very soft cloth which gets cleaned continuously, washed, dried thoroughly, and I'll give them a bit of a wipe down first. It's a lidless cloth, so you don't leave lint on there. Although again, that's not a huge problem with the initial clear coat, because normally if the lint is there, it'll stick to the edges of the foil, and you can remove those with the water paper as well. My 2K here is a 2 to 1 to 1 ratio. It's two parts of 2K clear coat, 1 part hardener and 1 part 2K thinners. That about depends on the 2K brand you're using, but that's about the ideal to spray through a 0.5 nozzle in an airbrush. So the reason I use 2K as my underlying clear coat, other than the reasons I've already said, is basically because it's what I can get in Zimbabwe. Unfortunately here we haven't got the variety and choice that you have overseas, and I'm sure overseas I might be using KBS, Diamond Coat, something, but I have gone through a lot of trial and error and come to my best solutions, or come to these solutions through a lot of processes and a lot of failures as well. Some of the local 2Ks don't adhere to the epoxies, and I don't know why that is. I'm not a paint guy, but when I finally found the Cavello, which I have to import from South Africa, I found the right product. Much harder than the local 2Ks I found, and there's a variety of different 2Ks. A little bit more expensive, but for this application, it's the perfect thing. This particular 2K is a very fast drying 2K clear as well, compared to the variety of local ones I've used, which take 2 days before you can work on them. This one is touch dry within a couple of hours and can probably be worked on with about 6 hours. So it's a very good product for this application. So one of the reasons I use a 2K for my initial clear is because a lot of guys will be using epoxy to go over the foil the first time. For the technique of painting I use, epoxy is too thick. The 2K I'm using is an Italian brand. It's called Carvello. It's a very, very good brand, and it's got good adherence to foil. And besides which, once you're encased in epoxy and everything's under the epoxy, it's very, very durable. You don't get delamination. So even if you chip the epoxy or hit a rock or something, or a predator's tooth goes through the epoxy, you're not going to get a case where the epoxy peels off in layers from this actual 2K clear coat. Bonds very well. I'll always start at the head, long strokes, always start above your lure and finish below, otherwise you're going to get your paint or your clear coat pooling at either end where you stop. So there'll be strokes like that. You'll notice that it's quite a thin coat over the scale. We just want to cover the scale. Our main intention here is hiding the foil seams where we're going to do it thicker. The lures do tend to move around a bit, obviously, with the pressure of the air. Control it with the wire you're holding the lure on. Make sure you get into all the recesses. I always have a pair of tweezers very handy that lives with my airbrush, in case you get scenarios like that where you've got lint stuck to the foil. Again, not a huge problem at this stage, but if you do see it, remove it while you can. Just makes it a lot easier. So you always want to do quite thick clear, and I'm sure if you can see that pooling there. Doesn't matter if it splashes a bit. This is just the initial clear, and of course on the back, where those big seams are and the back is unfoiled. Same would apply to a lure that's been foiled fully around. Okay. And now what I'll do is I'll turn it around. So you always have 2 wires handy, or more than that. And I'll do the same again. So we make sure we get all the angles, we get the back of the lure. Also helps to seal the foil in and glue it down. Okay, we're done. I'm just going to check it over quickly. What you're looking for is, if you use the light, you can see whether there's any recesses, if there's more clear coat needed. That looks absolutely fine to me on both sides. Any cracks in the foil or where the foil joins, you can see that those are filled with the clear coat. And that looks very good, but always give it a bit of a shake. And what that does, it helps settle the paint, even it out, and settle the clear coat into any cracks in the foil or anything like that. And that is perfect. Alright, so what I've got here is a 600 grit water paper. As you can see, it's an auto paper, very good for these sort of things. And I just cut it into small pieces. And one of these little pieces will probably do 3 or 4 lures before you need to cut another one and replace it. Okay, so this small piece here, make it manageable. Fold it in half. We've got our little bowl of water here, a little bit dirty, but that doesn't matter for this particular job. And what we're going to try and do here is we're going to try and take away these edges. If I run my finger across the back of this lure, I can feel the edges of the foil there. We're going to make it seamless so that when I paint it, you don't see those. And there's a couple of little burrs where the foil was raised, things like that. The same will apply on the belly of the lure. Though this one actually feels very good right now, I'll still do it anyway. Okay, so basically just as one does, wet the paper, 2 fingers flat, and just go over the edges. Don't worry about taking too much off. It's very hard to actually get through the stuff. And if you do, by chance, take it through to the bare foil, not a train smash. It'll still work. And you'll paint over that. There's going to be another 3 or 4 or 5 layers over that anyway, so it won't matter. Periodically, get your cloth, wipe it off, and then under the light, check. You'll generally be able to see if you've actually got those seams, because obviously where you've sanded it's now a matte, and you can see the shiny bits with the light where it still hasn't been touched. So I'll dig that in again, and I'll go more on here. And on that side, when you start getting the black like that, it means you've actually gone through to the foil. Again, as I say, not a train smash. Try and avoid it, but not a train smash. Okay, that one's done. No edges anymore. Perfect. So we're going to do the same to the belly. And what we're trying to do here is make the top coat level with that join there. So where the foil's joined, you can see a small indent or a small channel. That's filled with top coat. Hopefully it's level. I think it is. So we'll just go straight over that, right up to the, from the tail hook point to the belly hook point. Don't worry if it's scouring a bit and you're getting a bit of a dull finish. As soon as you put your epoxies on that, it's going to pop and gloss up again like it was before. That'll probably do it. Just checking in the light. Yes, that's fine. And then on the front, this is where I was talking about earlier, where you're hiding those creases in the foil. Already the top coat has sunk in those, so you can hardly feel them. So all I've got to do is rub over them a bit. And we're done. Perfect. All done. Check it over. Wipe off all the excess water. Obviously you've been taking material off that can smear and you don't want that under your paint. Make sure you've got a soft cloth. And there we have it. Ready to paint.